classification, comparative anatomy, vestigial organs, and blood tests. By comparing the skeletons, muscles, and nerves of different species of creatures, the evolutionist notes similarity of structure. From this, he argues that all evolved from a common ancestor millions of years ago. But by the time he traces all life back to his ancestor, he has forgotten his comparative anatomy argument, for he does not find the skeleton, muscle, and nerve counterparts in this single-celled beginning. Nevertheless, by an arbitrary arrangement or classification of many skeletal structures, the evolutionist seeks to show a long, gradual line of ascent terminating in man. The similarity of some neighbors in the lineup is undeniable, but the evolutionist is deceived by appearances. It is mere speculation to say that each one evolved from the one below it. Does the fact that all houses have floors, walls, roofs, windows, and doors prove that they are related by descent and heredity? Or that their maker designed them for similar purposes? To argue by classification is like taking a small doghouse and lining up after it big doghouses, small shacks, cottages, large houses, mansions, and castles, and then saying that the castles evolved from the doghouses because of the resemblance. And if you object to the analogy, because all of these items are inanimate, we ask, would it not be easier for one inanimate object to evolve into another inanimate object than for the inanimate to evolve into animate, as evolution claims by its spontaneous generation theory? Reasoning logically, could it not be that the similarity that exists in creatures springs from a single creator who designed them for life, with special adaptation to fit some for life in the air, or on the ground, or in the water? Why would the Creator vary the makeup of bone and muscle and nerve in every living form, when these three substances perform similar purposes under similar conditions and are nourished by similar foods? The more rash evolutionists claim that the human embryo passes through all the evolutionary stages, from single cell to man. The few months from conception to birth crowd in millions of years of living, as the fertilized human egg grows into fish, passes into reptile, thence mammal, into ape, and finally ends up a man-child. This wild contention was expounded by Ernest Haeckel, who said, "The history of the fetus is a recapitulation of the race." Today, few evolutionists champion such madness, but they cling to remnants thereof. They drop many stages, take shortcuts, juggle the recapitulation to suit their fancy. Most of them today claim only 3 stages are revealed: the fish stage, the tail stage, and the hair stage. They say human embryos have gill slits. Actually, these mere folds or arches become ear cavities, lower jaw, and neck parts. Some claim the presence of a tail in the human embryo, but that it gradually reduces until at birth it is gone. To say that the human spine is a tail is absurd, especially when it is known that the intestines extends along this tail, near the end of which tail is the anal opening. What tailed animal ever had its intestines in its tail and eliminated from the tail's tip? As for the hair stage, there is for a time extremely fine and soft hair that covers the embryo, known as lanugo, or embryonal down. By time of birth, It is about all lost, but persists throughout life on some parts, such as face and ears. Is that fuzz comparable to the coarse pelts of animals? The well-known evolutionist Sir Arthur Keith said regarding embryology and evolution, "It was expected that the embryo would recapitulate the features of its ancestors from the lowest to the highest forms in the animal kingdom. Now that the appearances of the embryo at all stages are known, the general feeling is one of disappointment. The human embryo at no stage is anthropoid in its appearance." Evolutionist William Bateson said to an assembly of scientists in America regarding the proof for evolution from embryology, "Today we feel silence to be the safer course." Some structures in man and other higher forms of life are believed by evolutionists to be remains of structures once required by lower ancestral forms, but which are no longer necessary to their present processors. Such structures or organs are called vestigial organs. In man, evolutionists used to point to some 180 such evolution leftovers, but as knowledge increased, vestigial organs decreased. Till today, only a handful are usually mentioned. But many evolutionists hesitate to call any organs vestigial, and reputable doctors testify that each has its function. The late Professor E.S. Goodrich of Oxford University said, "He would be a rash man indeed who would assert that any part of the human body is useless." Moreover, in his desperation to build a case for his theory, the evolutionist shuts his eyes to this crucial point. Vestigial organs would not prove evolution, but would prove devolution, a backsliding evolution in reverse. What the evolutionists must prove is the acquiring of new and useful organs, not the uselessness of organs already existing. They must produce evidence of nascent organs, the beginning of organs in process of evolving, the presence of half-formed organs. Vestigial organs, if any, are irrelevant. Professor George Nuttall of Cambridge University developed a test for human blood that has proved useful in criminal investigation. A liquid called an anti-human serum was made, and when mixed with human blood, caused a heavy white precipitate. But this precipitate was not formed when the liquid was mixed with the blood of chickens or rabbits, creatures low in the scale of evolution. When it was added to the blood of creatures close to man, such as monkeys, gorillas, and chimpanzees, a precipitate was formed. To the evolutionist, this similarity of blood meant one evolved from the other. But similar blood does not prove evolution, no more than the fact that both sewing needle and steam shovel are made of steel proves that one evolved from the other. There are other blood tests that show similarity. One shows close kinship between tiger and whale. Specific gravity test shows that the horse and pig are near to man. The frog and snake are nearer to man than the monkey, and the mouse blood is precisely the same. If anything is more embarrassing than its equality between man and mouse, it is the result of the Nuttall test that shows chimpanzee blood more human than human blood. It is supposedly the amount of white precipitate that indicates humanness. The test on gorilla behaves nicely, gives less precipitate than in the case of humans. But alas, chimpanzee blood gives more than does human blood. On the basis of this blood test, man would be the missing link between gorilla and chimpanzee. From the book After Its Kind by B.C. Nelson.